And tolerance is another way
Yes.
of dealing with. Now, grace and tolerance, they're kind of brothers and sisters, you know.
Agreed.
They live in the same house. But um, kindness, now, you know, in our research, being so focused on joy, realize that the best way to achieve joy is through act of kindness, act of grace, tolerance. I mean, all those things bring you a level of peace and joy that is unparalleled to anything else, you know. And I am often asked this because people tend to confuse happiness with joy. And they're kind of different in a way. And I kind of found a way to explain it. Like if someone finds a $100 bill on the pavement, it may bring them happiness for a few minutes. But if they turn around and give that $100 bill to a homeless guy who really needs it, it'll bring them joy, which they would have for days to come.
Very much so.
So joy is from within, and happiness is more like external, and that's the way I look at it.
There is a great quote in the first chapter that I love so much, and it fits in so nicely with self-esteem and the whole central idea of the first chapter, and it's the quote from Oscar Wilde. It says, "Be yourself, everyone else is already taken." That is fabulous. So love yourself.
Yeah.
Self-love.
Self-love.
Celebrate your strengths.
Respecting yourself. In fact, you know, our life starts with us. If we can learn how to deal with ourselves, then we know how to deal with everybody else. And it starts there.
Yeah. So we finish up with how to improve your self-esteem, and you have 4 wonderful ideas for how people can improve their self-esteem. Number 1, journaling.
Journaling is a way of learning from what happens. In fact, years ago, a friend of mine asked me if I count my blessings. I said, not really. He said, try it. So I started journaling, and at the end of the day, I would sit down with my journal and try to jot down all the blessings of the day. Because I'm sure there were a lot of things happen, but I wanted to focus on what was good about it. So journaling and focusing on the positive aspects of the day gave me positive viewpoint or energy for the next day. So that became a way of life for me, to every day focus on the blessings and journaling what the blessings were.
Can you imagine that if today, the day that we're taping this, everybody, is September 1.
Right.
Can you imagine if people started a journal today and kept it going till the end of the year, what growth they would see in
Absolutely.
themselves?
It's one of the, it's actually creating an educational system for yourself. Journaling is, in fact, funny thing you mentioned, journaling or writing down. So when I started teaching, I put a lot of emphasis on what makes people learn. So I realized that if the students only listen to my lectures, their reception of information I passed out was very low, maybe under 30%. But while they were listening to me, if they were writing down, making notes, it almost doubled. So I said, aha, I could go a step further. I'm going to have them not only write down the minutes or notes from my lectures, but they have to even word process it and create a binder which would have all word process notes from my class. So at the end of the class, they walked away with all their notes all beautifully prepared. And it was there for them for the rest of their life. They can go back. So that third thing that I did for them to go back and word process it took the information base from 30 to 60 to almost 80 to 90%.
That is,
and that's what journaling is.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. And finally, improving self-esteem, banish negativity.
Right.
Absolutely, yes. We do not need negativity in our life.
Or anyone else, you know.
Right.
In fact, one of the best things I learned from a friend was that don't look at what's wrong in people. Look at what's good in people. See? Look at the positive side of
Right.
them, not the negative side of them.
Exactly. Exactly. So, Professor Joy, let's start our journey by talking about the first chapter of the book, and it deals with self-esteem. Why is self-esteem so important?
Self-esteem is central to everything we do in our life. In fact, self-esteem or lack of self-esteem was the reason why some of those kids lost their lives. Their parents were in front of Congress and Mr. Zuckerberg was apologizing to them. So they suffered from lack of self-esteem or low self-esteem, and they start comparing themselves with others, and it becomes like a domino effect. It just keeps them taking further and further down. If they can just learn to feel good about themselves, nobody can touch them.
In fact, right in the very beginning of this chapter, you talk about that, in my view, self-esteem isn't merely a state of mind, it's a way of life.
Absolutely.
A conscious choice toward acceptance, responsibility, assertiveness, purpose, and above all, integrity.
Right.
Wow. You even go on and quote William Shakespeare, for goodness sakes, from Hamlet. Give thy thoughts no tongue, neither a borrower nor a lender be, and above all, to thine own self be true.
I love that quote.
I do too.
I read that book when I was, I don't know, mid-teens, you know.
Right, right. And you say, live with integrity. It isn't just a lofty idea. It's a daily practice. And that is so true.
Yeah.
You have to, every day,
Yeah.
do these things.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Good job, guys.
So that brings us to the close of our first step in this journey. Next week, we'll be talking about from calm to clarity. So thank you, everybody, and we hope that you'll join us on this journey, and that we'll see you next week when we discuss the second chapter. And all of our books are available for purchase.
Yeah.
So,
JoyScore.
yep, go to our JoyScore and pick up the books and follow along with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can highlight just like I'm doing.
Absolutely.
Have a great week, everybody.
Thank
Happy
you.
Labor Day.
Thank you.
All right.